What you are seeing in this video is the house of Shyamla Bohard, a retired loco pilot. Around it stand only slanted huts and fragile mud houses. But in the middle of them rises this solid concrete home, quietly different, quietly unsettling. Not long ago, Shyamla lived here with his wife. Then, without warning, both of them vanished. No phone calls, no messages, no contact with anyone. Days passed, then weeks, but there was no trace of the elderly couple. Eventually, the police had to step in and take charge of the case. The investigation began searching the house, questioning neighbors, but everything appeared disturbingly normal, until one clue emerged that turned the entire story upside down. All the police found was a sack. From the outside, it looked ordinary, but inside it hid a truth so horrifying that it sent shockwaves across all of Jaunpur. Inside that sack were remains of the elderly parents. Even now, the search for the rest of their bodies continues, and the questions refuse to fade. Why were these old parents subjected to such brutality? Who did this, and for what reason? What secret was so dark that it required erasing them completely, leaving not even their bodies behind? I uncovering the Ambed Jaunpur India double murder case. This story takes us to Ahmedpur village in India, under the Jaunpur police station in Jaunpur, where Shyamla Bohard lived with his wife Babita. Shyamla was about 65 years old and had retired from the railways in June 2025. Babita was 62. Ambed was their only son. The weight of the household, the care of aging parents, and his own dreams all rested on his shoulders. His 3 sisters were already married, and the entire family's faith was fixed on him. Ambed was an engineer, a B.Tech graduate, and everyone believed he would manage everything. But reality was harsher. Despite applying too many companies, no job offers came. Frustration grew. Pressure mounted. Then, finally, a company in Kolkata offered him a job as a quality engineer. The salary was decent. After discussing it with his parents, Ambed moved to Kolkata and began a new life in a rented room. His world shrank to his job and that small room. It was during this time that he met Sahajia, a woman from the same area who ran a beauty parlor. Ambed passed by her parlor every day. First came casual recognition, then conversations, and slowly, friendship. Over time, they grew closer. Sahajia learned that Ambed lived alone and struggled with household work. Gradually, she started helping him, coming to his room, sharing daily responsibilities. Those small acts of care turned into emotional attachment. Ambed knew his family would never accept this relationship, yet he confessed his feelings to Sahajia and she accepted. In moments, friendship turned into love, but along with love came a deep fear. Ambed was Hindu. Sahajia was Muslim. A wall of religion stood firmly between them. Still, at that moment, love felt stronger than anything else. Ambed had always feared how his parents would react, because deep down he knew the truth they would never accept. This relationship, till one day, gathering all his courage, he told them everything. The moment Shyamla and Babita learned that their only son was in love with a Muslim woman and intended to marry her, their response was immediate and absolute rejection. They made it clear that they could never accept a Muslim girl as their daughter-in-law. Ambed tried repeatedly to explain, to reason with them, to convince them that love mattered more than religion, but his words fell on deaf ears. Finally, in 2019, going completely against his family's wishes, Ambed married Sahajia through a court marriage. When his parents found out, it shattered them. The ground slipped beneath their feet. Their only son had defied them, and every dream they had built around his future collapsed in an instant. They declared that they would accept neither Sahajia as their daughter-in-law, nor Ambed as their son. From that moment, Ambed drifted away from the family. Months passed without visits, and phone calls became rare and cold. Time moved on, and Ambed became the father of 2 children. He hoped that perhaps this would soften his parents' hearts, that age and grandchildren might heal old wounds. But when he tried to reopen the conversation, he was met with the same taunts, the same bitterness, and the same hatred. In June 2025, when Shyamla retired from the railways, Ambed returned alone to Jaunpur. He was invited by his elder sister, Vandana, who hoped the retirement celebration might finally bridge the distance that had grown over the years. Seeing her son after so long, Babita melted, and even Shyamla's anger seemed to ease. For a brief moment, the entire family stood together again, smiling, pretending that the cracks had healed. But that illusion did not last long. During the same gathering, the parents laid down a cruel condition: if Ambed divorced his wife, they would fully accept him again and even arrange another marriage for him. Ambed refused outright. He was not willing to abandon his family, his children, or the woman he loved. Once again, the old wounds tore open, and soon after Ambed returned to Kolkata, carrying resentment instead of reconciliation. Then came September 2025. Ambed suddenly returned from Kolkata to Jaunpur and demanded money from his parents, around 5 lakh rupees. For Shyamala and Babita, this demand was shocking. Such a large amount was beyond what they were willing, or perhaps able, to give. They refused clearly and firmly. That refusal ignited something dark inside Ambed, something that slowly stripped away his humanity. From this point onward, the story took a horrifying turn. One where relationships, values, and morals all shattered beyond repair. Why did he need that money? For what purpose? The truth would surface later. But after that rejection, Ambed was completely broken. Days passed, and September turned into December. On the evening of the 8th of December 2025, around 7 p.m., arrived at his parents' house one last time, carrying a final thread of hope. He believed his mother, who had once loved him deeply, would persuade his father and arrange the money. But when he spoke to Babita, even she refused. She reminded him that he had married by his own choice, and that now he must face life on his own terms. They would not give him any money. That single sentence shattered whatever restraint remained inside Ambed. The suppressed anger erupted violently. In rage, he began shouting that the house belonged to his maternal family and that he, too, had a rightful claim over it. He even went as far as saying that he could throw his own parents out of the house whenever he wished. Hearing such words from her son broke Babita completely. The argument between mother and son spiraled out of control within moments. Voices rose, tempers flared, and in a fit of anger, Babita pushed Ambed and ordered him to leave the house immediately. That single moment became the point of no return. Something inside Ambed snapped completely. Blinded by rage, he stormed into the kitchen and grabbed an iron pestle, the heavy metal rod used with a grinding stone. Without hesitation, he struck his own mother. Babita's screams echoed through the house, and hearing her cries, Shyamala ran in, only to witness a sight no father should ever see: their son, transformed into something unrecognizable. Panic-stricken, Shyamala tried calling his elder daughter Vandana for help. But before he could do anything more, Ambed turned on him as well. When he realized his father was still breathing, he wrapped a rope around Shyamala's neck and strangled him, tightening his grip until every last breath faded away. After it was over, Ambed sat there for a while, staring at their bodies, watching closely to make sure neither of them was alive. Once he was certain, an eerie calm washed over his face. The rage disappeared, replaced by a chilling sense of satisfaction. That was when he began planning how to erase all evidence. Construction work was going on in the house, and he remembered that tools were stored in the basement. He went downstairs, picked up an iron saw, and in the dead silence of the night began a task so horrifying that even imagining it sends shivers down the spine. His original plan was to put the bodies in sacks and dump them far away, but the cement sacks he found were too small. That was when a monstrous idea took shape. If the bodies wouldn't fit, he would make them fit. Using the saw, he cut the bodies into smaller pieces so they could be packed inside the sacks. Once done, he tied them tightly and then cleaned the entire floor with clothes, his parents' own clothes, wiping away every trace of what had happened, as if the house itself had never witnessed that nightmare. By around 4 a.m., the entire area was silent, fast asleep. Ambed then took out the swift Jaunpur, ironically, a gift his father had once given him. One by one, he loaded 6 sacks into the trunk and drove nearly 8 kilometers toward the Gomti River. There he threw 5 sacks into the water. The one sack had his mother Babita's foot, partially visible. Afraid it might be noticed, he drove further to Jaunpur and dumped that sack into the Sai River instead. After committing these unspeakable acts, guilt finally crept in. Believing he had committed a grave sin, Ambed went to Varanasi, hoping a holy dip in the Ganga would wash away his crimes. He spent nearly 2 days wandering around the ghats, pretending to be just another pilgrim. Meanwhile, back home, Vandana noticed a missed call from her father, the last call he had made while his son was attacking his wife. She tried calling back, but the phone was switched off. Her mother's phone was also unreachable. Worried, she called Ambed. He calmly lied, saying their parents were upset with him and had left the house without informing anyone, and that he himself was searching for them. Disturbed but trusting him, Vandana agreed to help. When she tried calling him again later, his phone was also switched off. Panic set in. From December 10th to December 12th, the situation remained unchanged. Finally, on December 13th, Vandana filed a missing persons report at the Jaffrabad police station for her parents and her brother. Even the police were confused. If Ambed was searching for his parents, how could he be missing too? The mystery began to unravel when Ambed's phone was put under surveillance. The moment it was switched on briefly, his location was traced. On December 15th, police arrested Ambed from Varanasi and brought him back to Jaunpur. During interrogation, he kept changing his statements, deepening police suspicion. When pressure increased, he finally broke down and confessed. He admitted that he had murdered his own parents and disposed of their bodies in the Gumti and Sai rivers. As he narrated every detail of that night, even seasoned officers were left shaken. A son, meant to be the support of his parents in their old age, had brutally taken their lives and erased them piece by piece. Following his confession, police launched a search operation in the Gumti River. On December 16th, near Belwagot, one sack was recovered containing the portion of Shyamla Bahadur's body from the waist to the knees. The search for the remaining sacks is still ongoing. When asked why he committed such a horrific crime, Ambed revealed the truth behind his desperation. His family had always opposed his interfaith marriage. Even after 2 children, nothing changed. At his father's retirement party in June 2025, his parents softened briefly, but again demanded that he divorce his wife if he wanted acceptance. Later, his relationship with Sahaja also collapsed, and both agreed to divorce, but she demanded 5 lakh as alimony for the children. Without that money, the divorce couldn't happen. His biggest fear was that if he failed, his father would divide all property, land, and pension among his 3 sisters, leaving him with nothing. That fear drove him to demand money one last time on December 8th, when his parents refused. He lost everything: reason, morality, and humanity. Today, Ambed is under arrest, facing the consequences of his actions. The investigation continues, and justice is underway. But this case leaves behind disturbing questions: who was more wrong, and where did things truly collapse? What punishment does a son like Ambed deserve? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'll meet again in the next story. Until then, goodbye.